One tiger killed more than 400 people. Villages abandoned, roads empty. For years, fear ruled the night. This was not just an animal, this was a nightmare with stripes. The Champawat tiger. And it was real. Today, we uncover the most terrifying man-eaters in history. From lions that stopped a railway, to crocodiles that turned war into horror, to sharks that hunt in rivers, and even the white giants of the Arctic. These are the predators that hunted humans and changed history forever. Our first predator takes us to the foothills of the Himalayas and to the most infamous tiger in history, the Champawat tiger. Now, imagine this. You live in a small mountain village. The sun sets. Doors slam shut. Children are kept inside. No one dares to walk the roads at night because somewhere in the jungle, a tigress is waiting. This was no ordinary animal. She had suffered a terrible injury to her jaw, making it impossible to bring down deer or buffalo. So she turned to easier prey. Humans. Over the years, she was linked to more than 400 human deaths. Entire communities abandoned their homes. Travelers avoided the region completely. For years, fear ruled the hills of Nepal and northern India. Here's a fact to understand why she was so unstoppable. A Bengal tiger can leap more than 30 feet in a single bound, and with jaws strong enough to crush bone. Against a predator like this, villages had little chance. Finally, the authorities turned to one man, Jim Corbett. He followed her tracks through the jungle, sometimes in silence for hours. Then one day, the hunt came to its climax. The tigress struck again, taking a young victim. And that's when Corbett moved in. After a tense pursuit, he ended the reign of the Champawat tiger. Her story became legend, and her number, over 400 lives, remains the highest ever recorded for a single big cat. But here's the truth. The Champawat tiger wasn't born a killer. She was made one by injury, by desperation, and by the harsh realities of survival. Today, Bengal tigers are endangered. And while this story is terrifying, it's also a reminder. When humans and wildlife clash, there are no winners. One nightmare ended in the jungles of India, but far away, on the open plains of Africa, two lions were about to stop an entire railway. Our next story takes us to the savannas of East Africa, to two lions that became legends of fear, the Tsavo lions. Picture this. It's 1898. The British are building a railway through Kenya. Hundreds of workers live in tents near the tracks. At night, the sound of hammers and engines is replaced by something else, the roar of lions. But these lions were different. They didn't hunt zebras or buffalo. They hunted people. One by one, workers vanished from their camps. At first, no one believed it could be true, but the bodies that remained told a chilling story. For months, the lions returned again and again. They dragged men from their tents, leaving the camps in terror. Work on the railway nearly stopped altogether. Some estimates say 35 lives were lost. Others claim it was more than 100. Here's a fact that makes this even more incredible. Male lions in Tsavo often have no mane, making them harder to spot at night. And with jaws strong enough to crush through bone, once they attacked, escape was almost impossible. Eventually, Colonel John Patterson, who oversaw the railway, took matters into his own hands. He built traps. He waited through the night. And finally, after months of pursuit, he brought both lions down. The story of the Tsavo lions spread across the world. Today, their preserved bodies are on display at the Field Museum in Chicago, a chilling reminder of a time when humans became prey on the African plains. But again, the truth is complex. Some scientists believe the lions turned to people because of a shortage of natural prey. Others think dental problems made hunting animals too painful. Whatever the reason, the Tsavo lions remain among the most infamous man-eaters in history. And while Africa faced its ghosts in the night, in another corner of the world across swamps and mangroves, a predator with the strongest bite on Earth was waiting, the saltwater crocodile. From the grassy plains of Africa, we now move to the swamps and mangroves of Southeast Asia and Australia. Here lives the largest reptile on Earth, the saltwater crocodile. Imagine standing at the edge of a river. The water looks calm, nothing stirs. But beneath the surface, a predator waits. One with the strongest bite force ever measured, over 3,700 pounds per square inch. Strong enough to crush bone in a single snap, saltwater crocodiles can grow over 20 feet long and weigh more than a ton. They are patient hunters, capable of waiting for hours, sometimes days, for the perfect ambush. And when they strike with explosive speed. One of the most infamous stories comes from World War II. In 1945, Japanese soldiers retreating through the swamps of Ramree Island in Myanmar found themselves trapped in crocodile territory. What happened next has become part of legend. Many soldiers never made it out. While the exact numbers are debated, the event cemented the crocodile's reputation as one of the deadliest predators to ever face humans. Even today, saltwater crocodiles are responsible for more human deaths each year than sharks. And unlike many predators, they actively patrol rivers, coastlines, and even the open sea. To them, a human is no different from any other animal that comes too close. But here's the truth. Crocodiles aren't mindless killers. They attack when people enter their territory, often unknowingly, which is why locals in northern Australia and Southeast Asia have learned a rule that has saved many lives. Never swim where the water looks calm, and never assume you're alone. So while the jungles of India had their tiger, and the plains of Africa their lions, in the swamps and rivers of Asia, it is the crocodile that rules. And out at sea or even in rivers much closer to home, another predator lurks. Not the giant great white, but a smaller shark that swims where no one expects. The bull shark. Not all predators wait in the jungle or the swamp. Some stalk their prey in a place we think is safe. Rivers. Meet the bull shark, a medium-sized shark, usually around 10 feet long. But what makes it truly dangerous is where it hunts. Unlike most sharks, the bull shark can survive in both saltwater and freshwater, which means it doesn't just swim in the ocean, it can travel miles up rivers, even into lakes. Now imagine swimming on a hot summer day in a river near your town. The water is murky, your feet can't see the bottom, and suddenly a shadow passes below you. That's the terror of the bull shark. One of the most famous stories comes from the United States in 1916. Along the coast of New Jersey, a series of shark attacks shocked the country. Some happened in the ocean, but then attacks were reported in a creek miles inland. People could hardly believe it. The culprit? Most likely bull sharks. The fear that spread during those weeks even inspired the novel and movie Jaws. Here's a fact that explains why they're so feared. Bull sharks are considered responsible for more human attacks than any other species of shark. Not because they're the biggest, but because they swim in the same places people do shallow waters, estuaries, and rivers. But again, science tells us a different truth. Sharks don't see humans as their natural prey. Most attacks are cases of mistaken identity, when the shark confuses a swimmer with fish or other animals. Still, their power and unpredictability make them one of the most dangerous predators in the water. From the murky rivers of America to the icy wilderness of the Arctic, danger takes many forms. And our final predator is not a reptile or a fish, but the largest land carnivore on Earth, the polar bear. Our final predator takes us to the ends of the Earth, the Arctic, a frozen wilderness of ice, snow, and silence. Out here, one animal rules, the polar bear, the largest land carnivore on the planet. Males can weigh over 1,000 pounds and stand more than 10 feet tall on their hind legs. Their white fur hides them perfectly against the snow, while their sense of smell can detect prey from miles away. Now imagine you're part of an Arctic expedition. The wind is howling, the ice creaks beneath your feet, and in the distance, a pale shadow moves closer. For the polar bear, humans are not just intruders, we are prey. There have been documented cases where polar bears stalked research stations, broke into camps, and hunted explorers, much like they hunt seals. Unlike many predators, they don't usually attack by mistake. They attack with intent. Here's a fact that makes them even more formidable. A polar bear can swim for days without stopping, covering more than 60 miles at sea. They are built for survival in one of the harshest places on Earth. But here's the tragedy. As climate change melts the sea ice they depend on, polar bears are forced to travel further, often coming into contact with humans more than ever before. And that makes encounters increasingly dangerous for both sides. The polar bear is both a symbol of raw power and of vulnerability. A predator that reminds us we are not always at the top of the food chain, and at the same time, a creature whose future depends on what humanity does next. From the jungles of India to the plains of Africa, from the swamps of Asia to the rivers of America, and finally to the ice of the Arctic, these are the predators that once hunted humans and changed history forever. The question is, which of them would you fear the most? So there you have it, 5 predators, 5 legends of fear, a tigress that haunted villages in India, 2 lions that stopped a railway in Africa, crocodiles lurking in silent swamps, sharks swimming in rivers where no one expected them, and the white giants of the Arctic. Each of them changed history. Each of them showed us one truth. Humans are not always at the top of the food chain, but now I want to hear from you. Which of these predators do you think is the most terrifying? The tiger, the lions, the crocodile, the shark, or the polar bear? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into the wild side of history, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more incredible animal stories, and share this video with someone who loves learning the untold truths about nature, because out there, beyond the safety of our cities, the wild still has its secrets. And sometimes, the wild looks back at us.